Good afternoon, and welcome to Cummins, everybody. My name is Tony Satterthwaite. I'm a Senior Vice President here at Cummins. This is my 35th year at the company, and I've had the opportunity to live all over the world, including 12 years here in Minnesota leading this business. This community is very special to me and my family. Our children were educated in the public schools here. Sadly, they're all Vikings fans. And they love nothing better than to bring their friends from around the country to our great Minnesota State Fair. And so I'm truly delighted to be here today and to celebrate the evolution of our business and the power of partnerships. I want to thank all of the dignitaries here. There are too many to mention, but our main guest is coming later, and I will let one of my colleagues introduce him to you. Cummins is a U.S. headquartered global power leader that is over 100 years old. We employ more than 70,000 people globally, including 26,000 here in the U.S., with a long-term presence here in Minnesota. We power some of the most demanding and economically vital applications across many industries and sectors. Through our strategy to reach zero carbon emissions by 2050, what we call Destination Zero, we have the responsibility and the opportunity to lead our industry through the energy transition in a way that keeps our economy running and creates new jobs. Today, we offer customers the most comprehensive combination of low and zero emissions technologies dedicated to the commercial vehicle and heavy industries. Through our engine-based solutions and our recently announced new brand focused solely on zero-emission solutions, Accelera by Cummins. In addition to the work we do at this plant to manufacture generators that are exported all over the world, we are repurposing part of this facility, right where you are standing and sitting right now, to manufacture electrolyzers, one of the key pieces of technology for green hydrogen production that will help decarbonize our economy and drive the clean energy transition. Yeah. Our success in this transition is incumbent on the partnership between private and public sectors that we are here to recognize today. The historic investments in the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act are driving the clean energy economy forward in the United States. As a result of this legislation, we saw demand for US-made electrolyzers skyrocket. And what you see here today is our ability to capitalize on that demand and create 100 new jobs here in Fridley, with many more in our supply base, as well as upskill part of our existing workforce. So we are grateful to President Biden and Congress for the vision on clean energy and the confidence in American business to deliver on it, and to the partners, customers, and community leaders that are joining us to accelerate the shift. So we appreciate the opportunity today to showcase and celebrate our prosperous future and our incredibly employees who are empowering it. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce the governor of the great state of Minnesota, Tim Walz.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you to the great folks at Cummins, creating great jobs, innovation, powering the world in this great community, and to all of you. How great is it to come to a political rally where we talk about solutions and the future? That is the place you should be at. This place and these people talking about what we can do together to lead the green energy economy, to create jobs. So I'd like to say, again, a thank you to Tony and the folks at Cummins. A thank you to our legislative leaders who had the vision around the Inflation Reduction Act, around the CHIPS Act, around the Infrastructure Act, that finally invested back in America. And a huge thank you to the workers and our union workers who are here today that create those good paying jobs and a quality of life. And a special thank you to President Biden for signing that legislation, to coming out and talking about what we can do together. Somebody who understands, that guy from Scranton understands, people want to come to work, put in a good day's work, be paid a fair wage, and be able to go home and have a little extra to spend on your family. He's been talking about this since he got into public office. And over the last 2 years, with the help of Congress, we are delivering for America in a way that we haven't seen. So, Mr. President, you have my undying thanks. Watching what happened, up until about 2020, governors were kind of on your own. You'd wake up and hope that the paper had good news, because it wasn't seeing the partnership that was coming. Those days have changed. In the state of Minnesota, under the leadership of Speaker Hortman, we're moving legislation to improve lives. We're moving legislation. We've invested $500 million to revitalize manufacturing, to capture the federal dollars, the state dollars, and maximize the private sector investments. All of those things are going to happen. And it's not just here in Fridley, although the mayor's going to tell you it's really here in Fridley where it's happening, but it's happening all across the state and all across the country. Residents in Austin, Minnesota are finally going to get that new bridge across I-90. Folks across Minnesota are finally going to see EV infrastructure start to reach some maturity so that we can continue to sell EV cars, create opportunities, reduce our carbon emissions. And I have to tell you, with the help of what they did in Congress and the president signing the bill, we're finally going to take care of the reconstruction on Highway 197 up in Bemidji, where it crosses over by Paul Bunyan Drive. And I've said this, for people here know this, Paul Bunyan did nothing small. He did everything big. So I have to tell President Biden, it may be Joe Bunyan on this, because this is big stuff. These are big manufacturing jobs. These are big transformations. And all of those things are happening with an American workforce and American innovation across this country. This is America building back better than ever and creating jobs. And it happens in communities just like Fridley. So thank you all for being out here. Thanks for believing. Thanks for understanding that what we do collectively together can make an impact in people's lives. And I know I don't have to tell that to your great mayor of Fridley, Mayor Lund.
I may be a bit biased because you're in my city. Yeah. So I want to promote my city. This is a big day for Fridley because we're getting some national recognition, and albeit it's in a positive way, right? Yeah. So the governor is a tough act to follow, but I told him I was going to wing it as well as he does. He does a good job. I don't have as much speaking ability as he does, because usually where I fit in the political scheme of things, you know, at the bottom of the pile, I'm always the last person to speak, so this is quite unique for me. Usually I can just say ditto what everybody else said before me. So I got a little bit of a challenge here today, because I got to actually say something profound. I want to thank, first off, all these people to my right over here that are the working people of this, of Cummins Generation Power. Thank you. And really, I just wanted to get a plug in there for all you, because you've been waiting in line for hours just like me. In any regard, it's great technology. It's good stuff for Fridley, good stuff for Cummins. I mean, I'm very impressed, proud to have them hosting this event in our town. And the innovation that they're going to be creating here, I got to thank the governor for his desire to see this all progress, as well as the Touring America that Joe Biden, President Joe Biden is doing, and that he actually came to our community. All a great day for Fridley. Small, but a great day for Fridley. And I appreciate it. Yeah. So thank you all for coming. And next up, of course, is Ilyan Omar, who's going to have some great words of wisdom for you all. Yeah.
It turns out there's a reason we should always wear our heels. Well, good afternoon to you all here at Cummins, to Tony and the management, to the incredible staff. It's great to be back here visiting again. It's great to be here with the mayor. I did not know our mayor was so comical. I think we should do a competition with all the mayors in Minnesota's 5th Congressional District.
Hands down, hands down.
And it's just an honor to also be here with our governor, celebrating the incredible work and the ways in which he's partnered with us on a federal level. And it's always, always an honor to be here with our senior Senator Amy Klobuchar and junior Senator Tina Smith. And it is an honor to have the ability to welcome President Biden to Minnesota's 5th Congressional District today. We are proud to be part of your Investing in America tour to highlight the investments your administration is making to address the climate crisis and everything that we are doing here in Minnesota as well. As you've probably learned by now, Mr. President, here in Minnesota's 5th, the weather might be cold, but the people have warm hearts. For those of you who didn't know, this Cummins factory right here in Fridley is the first electrolyzer manufacturing facility in the United States.
Yeah.
The electrolyzers manufactured here produce clean hydrogen energy that will help decrease carbon emission and reduce our carbon footprint, which has been a priority for me and so many others who've been fighting against climate change. Cummins now employs a diverse staff of over 1,000 people here in Minnesota's 5th Congressional District, and the Cummins Advocating for Racial Equity program helps support Black-owned businesses and mobilize mobile grocery markets throughout Minnesota's 5th Congressional District. The electrolyzer facility will add another 100 green jobs right here in Fridley. That's what investing in America and its future looks like. The success of the green energy revolution here in the 5th and across the country is large part thanks to the leadership of President Biden and the Democrats in Congress, who made the most significant investment in clean energy and climate change in our nation's history last Congress. Across my district, we have helped establish a new era of American innovation and ingenuity to create good-paying jobs and confront the existential threat of the climate change. Since President Biden took office, we have been able to add 185,000 jobs across Minnesota. 120,000 new businesses have also been created, and the president's efforts have spurred over $2 billion in private investments.
Yeah.
Thanks to the president's investments in clean energy, American manufacturing growth now outpaces the rest of the world, and the Midwest is leading the way. If we're going to truly address the climate crisis, it's going to take bold action, bold investments in clean energy future. And that is what we are doing right here in Minnesota. I want to thank the president again for his partnership, for his leadership, and for his dedication. And now it is my honor to welcome Senator Tina Smith.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Good afternoon. I want to thank President Biden for being with us here today. I want to thank all of my esteemed colleagues standing behind me, and I want to thank all of you as we are here today to celebrate the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the most significant climate legislation ever to have passed the United States Congress and be signed into law. Thanks thanks to President Biden's leadership and vision and the determination and commitment of Democrats in Congress, the Inflation Reduction Act is going to lower energy costs for Americans, it's going to improve air quality and our health, and it's going to make the most dramatic reduction in carbon pollution that we have ever seen in our history. And, just as important, we will be accomplishing this by building the clean energy supply chain and manufacturing chain here in the United States and right here in Minnesota and in Fridley, Minnesota. I am very grateful. I am very grateful for the tenacious effort of the Biden-Harris team to get this new law up and running fast. And President Biden has been clear. We need to move fast and we need to deliver results for Americans. And that is what the President is here to talk about today at Cummins. Now, thanks to this landmark law, we are starting up manufacturing in Fridley to build electrolyzers, as you have heard, which is a vital part of the supply chain for creating green hydrogen, which will help us clean up and decarbonize heavy transportation and heavy industry. And this is going to be a big deal. The Inflation Reduction Act creates huge opportunities for companies like Cummins to build out that supply chain for new clean energy technology here at home. President Biden, today you will see that the clean energy transition is happening here in Minnesota, and we are leading the way. Thanks to Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and the Minnesota State Legislature, many of whom are here today, we passed landmark legislation to put Minnesota on the path to 100% clean energy by 2040. Woo! So, I want to thank Minnesota workers and companies. I want to thank the utilities and rural electric co-ops, the labor unions and career and technical training, Minnesota's tribes. I want to thank everybody here in Minnesota who are leading and innovating and building the clean energy transformation for the good of all of us. And I want us all just to recognize that we owe a big thanks to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
His presidency. His presidency, I truly believe, has been one of the most effective and consequential in our history. Our country is lucky to have Joe Biden as our president, and I feel honored to stand here before all of you and help to welcome him to Minnesota. Now, please join me in welcoming our senior senator, though I am a year or two older than she is. So when everyone calls me junior senator, I feel a little happy. Please join me in welcoming our amazing senior senator, Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Well, thank you, Junior. Thank you, Senator Smith, for your leadership. And first thing, we are so excited to have President Biden back in Minnesota, the land where the women are strong, the men are good looking, and all the electrolyzer manufacturing is above average. We thank the President for doing so much to make sure that good-paying jobs of the future are based right here in Minnesota, and yes, Mayor Lund, right here in Fridley. Now, we know the President chose to come to our state today because of the weather. And I promised him, by the way, that there would be no more snow by June. But it is wonderful to be here with the governor, with my good friend, Congresswoman Craig, by the way, is here, Angie Craig, as well as Tina Ilhan, and we also, of course, Betty McCollum is a member of our delegation. We actually saw Congresswoman Fishbuck when we were at the derailment in her district, and I will say Minnesota's congressional district delegation, just so you guys know, is half women, and we are one of only 4 states in the country to send not 1 but 2 women to the U.S. Senate. But we are most proud today of the Cummins workers. Incredible. Every one of you that I see you, but I see your family standing with you, your moms and your dads and your brothers and your sisters and your kids. because they are so proud of you and what you're doing today. Over the last century, this company has become a global energy leader known for providing powerful, reliable engines for our nation's military. And for the last 60 years, those generators have been built right here in Fridley. But like any good business, this business does not rest on its laurels. Its leaders understand that innovation will make them the powerhouse of tomorrow. With this forward-looking technology, we will literally be able to yank energy in the form of hydrogen from water, and we can do it without any carbon emissions. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of science involved here, but let's put it in simple math terms. Cummins technology plus Minnesota workers equals a clean energy economy. Yeah. That's what this is about. Now, we all know why we need this. We've seen the evidence, the fires, the hurricanes, the severe weather events in our state and across the world. In fact, every time someone says it's the storm of the century, Mother Nature says, hold my beer. We see another one. That's why we passed the two bills, and I'll go here, Mayor, with your ditto. You've heard from my colleagues about it. But these bills were initiated in the Senate, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, work of a lot of Democrats and Republicans together in the president's leadership, as well as the Inflation Reduction Act. Those bills set our country in a new direction in two major ways. First, we're giving private companies the incentive to invest big time to be part of our national call to action to bring greenhouse gases down by 40% by 2030. Yeah. Second, we're going to make it in America with American workers. Yeah. That means American manufacturing. It means 100 new jobs here in Fridley, engineers, plant workers, technicians. It means teaching new skills and bringing people up in the workforce. And it's not just 4 years degree or beyond. Some of those jobs are like that. But it's also apprenticeships and 1- and 2-year degrees. And as I've said over and over, we're not going to have a shortage of sports marketing degrees in this country. Sorry for whoever has one. We are going to have a shortage of technicians. We're going to have a shortage of engineers. We're going to have a shortage of electricians and nurses and health aides. Those jobs require good 1- and 2-year degrees and apprenticeships. And that's why I'm leading the bipartisan bill on apprenticeships and why I think we should make those 1- and 2-year degrees affordable and, yes, free. Mr. President, Minnesota thinks big. We are a state of endless optimism on a frozen tundra that has created one of the most forward-looking economies in the world. First-rate medicine and medical technology, 16 Fortune 500 companies, innovative retail, solid financial companies, great ideas from the pacemaker to the Post-it note. And you know the chip, the semiconductor chip that the president held up when he announced the great bill that we did on semiconductors? Guess where it was made? It was a Skywater chip from Bloomington, Minnesota. This is our state. We are a state that makes stuff, that invents things, and that exports to the world. So the president could not have picked a better place to come today than Minnesota and Fridley, Minnesota, and the workers of Cummins. Thank you.
Yeah. Perfect.